Welcome back to another episode of Braving the Mountain podcast. And today's episode, I wanted to talk about something interesting. This was a conversation that a good friend, Andrea Crisp, and I had after her breathwork session. And the conversation was kind of about the energy of being and doing. And a lot of times we hear the energy of being as like being in your feminine, and the energy of doing is like being in your masculine. And as she was telling me some of her thoughts and feelings after her session, a few popped into my head. And I think a lot of times when we are in this world, we are taught that you need to be in your masculine and feminine energy, and you don't want to be too feminine because then you need the strategy. And like, it becomes a whole mind game. And this was a mind game that I really found myself stuck in, to be honest. I would really get in my head a lot about what energy I was showing up in. And I had to quit caring. Just so, like, if you're finding yourself in the same space of caring too much or really thinking about, oh, nope, I need to be in my masculine today because I'm like strategizing and doing all of this. And then you're like, oh, okay, now I need to be in my feminine. They can work together and you can be in both at the same time. And something that I want to talk about here is like when you start doing, this is what I have found to be true for myself. When I start doing, I find myself in the being, which is really interesting because the being is more like flow, aligned, inspired action. It's being in flow where it feels really good, where you're in your feminine and your masculine. And it's just like this really good vibe, honestly. Energetically, it's this good vibe, but it's basically where you just start doing the task. I think a lot of times we're like, oh, I need to go sit and think about this a little bit more, and I need to do this, and I need to do that. And we kind of try to logic our way into being. What if it was something as simple as when you start doing that task? Like a lot of times, I'm like, okay, I need to record some podcast episodes this week. I have my topics in mind that I'm really excited about. And so I get started on that. And what I find is that as I start talking, I suddenly get out of my head. And I usually will start the session off like before I start recording with some breath work or something, and just this trusting in knowing that what needs to come out of me will come out of me. What you need to hear in this moment will fall upon the right ears. And I just get to trust that. And when I start doing the act of recording a podcast, it just starts to flow through me. I get out of my head, I'm into my heart. A lot of times I'll hit the end of the episode, I won't even remember what I talked about. And that's what I want for you, is to get out of your head and stop trying to think that business or life needs to look a certain way, that to hit a certain result, you need to do this much strategy and you need to do this much being. Just allow yourself the space to be you and do what feels good. And what I have found as I have started to step into what feels good to me, it's working. Things are happening. My Instagram account right now is growing like crazy. And not that I was searching for proof. I was just like, oh, this sounds fun. I'm just going to do this. And if I'm being real honest, I was getting lazier, a little bit lazier with writing captions. And I was like, well, what if I just go live every day? What would that look like? And what happens is I'm typically on my walk or I wake up in the morning and inspiration hits. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go riff on this on an Instagram live and I'm just going to talk about it. My Instagram is growing by like 60 plus followers a day. And I really don't get like super hung up on the numbers and all of that. But to me, where my Instagram account is headed is just proof to me that I'm putting the message out there that people want to hear, and everything is working for me. I am co-conspiring with the universe, source, God, whatever your belief is here. I'm co-conspiring and it's working. I am doing my part and God fills in the gaps, right? And so you get to decide. You get to decide. And it's really interesting as you start to just allow and you stop making any of your actions mean anything, and you just allow yourself to be you and show up in a way that feels good to you without questioning it, just trusting, things are going to happen. And this is what I want for you. So today, think about, where are you trying to maybe stuff yourself in a box? If you're anything like me, I was stuffing myself in this box of, let's talk about my content, for example. I was stuffing myself in this box, like it has to look a certain way. I have to post so many, like every single day, and maybe it needs to be a reel because the algorithm's favoring reels, and it never felt good. I felt like I was stuffing myself in this box and I didn't give myself any freedom or flexibility. I was like, it's just supposed to look this way. I was strategizing my way through all of it, and it was like Mindset Monday, Tip Tuesday, Wins Wednesday, like whatever it was, right? It felt like shit. Like, I am not gonna lie, it felt like shit. I didn't enjoy doing it. I didn't enjoy showing up. And now I honestly don't think a whole lot about my content. I just, if inspiration hits, I hop on and share it. And that's just been really fun for me. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy going live. I really enjoy talking to you. And I don't think too much about it. I just take action and go. And you get to do that too. You can decide. What are you no longer available for? I was no longer available for stuffing myself in boxes. I just wasn't here for it. So what are you no longer available for? Maybe you're stuffing yourself in a box somewhere. Maybe you're trying to stuff yourself in somebody's business blueprint that they used to build their business, and you're trying to do it the exact same. I'm going to tell you right here, if it doesn't feel good to you, it's not going to work for you. You're not going to show up in a good energy. You're not going to show up like happy and excited about what you are doing. And so you really get to think about that. If it doesn't feel good for you, don't do it. This is how I work with my clients all the time, is what feels good and aligned. Here are some ideas. Which one feels the best to you? And then I start to teach you how to trust yourself again, how to take that divine inspiration and guidance that you are receiving and take action on that, because it does not have to be one certain way. Have you ever heard the concept of like there are 9 ways to skin a cat? And maybe that's just me growing up in like a farm girl town, but there are 9 ways to skin a cat. We always used to say that, right? There are a million ways to do something, and you can all get to the same results, and you don't have to all take the exact same step. And so when I work with clients, I really teach you to lean into yourself, to find the answers within. This is what I do with my breathwork method, is dive into yourself, find what feels good within you. The answers will come when you start seeking that out. The steps are going to come, right? Like hopping in a car and putting it in the GPS. You have your destination in mind. Maybe you aren't sure what the next step is. When you start to incorporate the breathwork method, when you start to dive into you, the answers start to come. That next turn, that next exit, like it all starts to come to you. And then I teach you how to trust yourself, how to lean into that intuition and trust yourself to take that action, knowing that everything is working out for you. Because if it is within you, it is for you. And you are so capable. You have everything you need to create the results that you desire already within you. It might just need a little refining and reshaping, and maybe slowing down and getting quiet with yourself and really diving within. But I'm here to tell you that you can do this. And if you want any help doing this, send me a DM. You can find me on Instagram at Amanda Clark Studios. Send me a DM. Let's have a conversation around it. Let's find out where you're stuck, where you're holding yourself back, where you're in your head too much, so that you can learn to trust yourself and take aligned and inspired action. You absolutely deserve that. You deserve to create a life you love with kids in tow, and you are so wildly capable. I will talk to you next time.